Hello students, this is Mrs. Sonal Patil. We had begin with the chapter Microbes in Human Welfare, in which we have studied up till microbes in sewage treatment. Today we will study about microbes in the production of biogas. Biogas is a mixture of gases which is predominantly containing methane, and these gases are produced by the microbial activity and which may be used as fuel. Everybody is aware of this. Microbes produce different types of gaseous end products during growth and metabolism. The type of gas produced depends upon the microbes and the organic substrates they utilize. In the example cited in relation to fermentation of dough, cheese making and production of beverages, the main gas produced was CO2. However, certain bacteria which grow anaerobically on cellulosic material produce large amount of methane along with carbon dioxide and hydrogen. These bacteria are collectively called methanogens. So these bacteria are collectively called as methanogens, and one common example of this bacterium is methanobacterium. These bacteria are commonly found in the anaerobic sludge during sewage treatment. These bacteria are also present in the rumen, that is a part of the stomach of cattle. So it is present in the rumen of the cattle. A lot of cellulosic material present in the food of cattle is also present in the rumen. In rumen, these bacteria help in the breakdown of cellulose and play an important role in the nutrition of cattle. Thus, the excreta of cattle, commonly called gobar, is rich in these bacteria. Dung can be used for generation of biogas, commonly called gobar gas. The biogas plant consists of concrete tank in which biogas wastes are collected and a slurry of dung is fed. A floating cover is placed over the slurry which keeps on rising as the gas is produced in the tank due to the microbial activity. The biogas plant has an outlet which is connected to a pipe to supply biogas to nearby houses. The spent slurry is removed through another outlet and may be used as fertilizer. Cattle dung is available in large quantities in rural areas where cattle are used for variety of purposes. So here is been shown the diagram of the biogas plant. Remember, diagram is very important from exam point of view. Biogas plant, a typical biogas plant is asked many a times in the exam. So please practice the diagram. So here it has been shown that the biogas plant is consisting of a concrete tank in which bio-waste are collected and the slurry of the dung is fed. A floating cover is placed over the slurry which keeps on rising as the gas is produced in the tank due to microbial activity. The biogas plant has an outlet which is connected to a pipe. So it is having an outlet which is connected to the pipe to supply biogas to nearby houses. Used slurry is removed through another outlet and may be used as fertilizer. Okay, so this is the biogas plant. So biogas plants are more often built in rural areas. The biogas thus produced is used for cooking and lighting. The technology of biogas production was developed in India mainly due to the efforts of Indian Agricultural Research Institute and Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So that was about the biogas plant and the microbes involved in the production of biogas. Coming to the next, microbes as biocontrol agents. Biocontrol refers to the use of biological methods for controlling plant diseases and pests. In modern society, these problems have been tackled increasingly by the use of chemicals, by use of insecticides and pesticides. These chemicals are toxic and extremely harmful to human beings and animals alike, and have been polluting our environment, that is soil, groundwater, fruits, vegetables, and crop plants. Our soil is also polluted through our use of weedicides to remove weeds. So these effects of use of chemicals, insecticides, and pesticides to control disease and pest are nothing but these chemicals are toxic, I told you, and extremely harmful to the human beings and animals, polluting our environment. It is polluting the environment, and even soil is polluted through use of weedicides to remove the weeds. Biological control of pests and diseases. In agriculture, there is a method of controlling pests that relies on natural predation rather than introduced chemicals. A key belief of the organic farmer is that biodiversity further health. The more variety of landscape has, the more sustainable it is. The organic farmer therefore works to create a system where the insects that are sometimes called pests are not eradicated but instead are kept at manageable levels by a complex systems of checks and balances within a living and vibrant ecosystem. Contrary to the conventional farming practices, which often use chemical methods to kill both useful and harmful life forms indiscriminately, this is a holistic approach that seeks to develop an understanding of the webs of interaction between the myriad of organisms that constitute the field fauna and flora. The organic farmer holds the view that the eradication of the creatures that are often described as pests is not only possible but also undesirable, for without them the beneficial predatory and parasitic insects which depend upon them as food or host would not be able to survive. Thus, the use of biocontrol measures will greatly reduce our dependence on toxic chemicals and pesticides. An important part of biological farming approach is to become familiar with the various life forms that inhabit the field, field predators as well as pests, and also their life cycles, patterns of feeding, and habitats that they prefer. This will help develop appropriate means of biocontrol. So, use of biocontrol measures will greatly reduce our dependence on toxic chemicals and pesticides. The ladybird and dragonflies are useful to get rid of aphids and mosquitoes, respectively. Bacillus thuringiensis, used to control butterfly caterpillars. They are used to control the butterfly caterpillars. Dried spores are mixed with water and they are spread on vulnerable plants such as brassicas and fruit trees, where these are eaten by the insect larvae. In the gut of the larvae, the toxin is released and the larva get killed. Very important, this biocontrol of pest and disease question. Uh, been asked in the exam, so concentrate on this. Trichoderma, a free living fungus, is used to control several plant pathogens. So, as I told you, Bacillus thuringiensis is nothing but it is a dried spores which are mixed with the water and spread. They spread on the plants. These are available in sachets as dried spores. Likewise, even trichoderma, it is a free living fungus which is used to control several plant pathogens. Baculoviruses are the pathogens that attack insects and other arthropods. The majority of baculoviruses used as biological control agents are in the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Baculoviruses are excellent candidates for species specific narrow spectrum insecticidal application. They have no negative impacts on plants, mammals, birds, fish, etc. This is very used in integrated pest management program. So it is very useful in the integrated pest management program. This integrated pest management program, it is an ecosystem based strategy that focuses on long term prevention of pests or their damage through a combination of techniques such as biocontrol, habitat manipulation, etc. So that is about the IPM, that is integrated pest management. Next, microbes as biofertilizers. With our present day lifestyles, environmental pollution is a major cause of concern. The use of chemical fertilizers to meet the ever increasing demand of agricultural produce has contributed significantly to this pollution. Of course, we have now realized that there are problems associated with overuse of chemical fertilizers, and there is a large pressure to switch to organic farming, that is the use of biofertilizers. Biofertilizers are organisms that enrich the nutrient quality of the soil. The main sources of biofertilizers are bacteria, fungi, and cyanobacteria. So these are very, very important. So main sources of biofertilizers are bacteria, fungi, and cyanobacteria. The nodules, which are the nodules on the roots of leguminous plants formed by the symbiotic association of rhizobium. So rhizobium is a bacteria which is associated with symbiotically, it is associated with the leguminous plants. These bacteria fix atmospheric nitrogen into organic forms, which is used by the plant as nutrient. Other bacteria can fix atmospheric nitrogen while free living in the soil. Examples are azospirillum and azotobacter. Sorry, this is, the image has come in between. So here I have mentioned the examples, that is azospirillum and azotobacter, thus enriching the nitrogen content of the soil. So these bacteria are nothing but they fix the atmospheric nitrogen to the organic forms, which is used by the plant as nutrient. And these other bacteria, which are azospirillum and azotobacter, these bacteria also fix atmospheric nitrogen while free living in the soil. Thus they're enriching the nitrogen content of the soil. So here examples are hidden under the image. The examples are nothing but azospirillum and, make a note, azotobacter. This is also an important question from exam point of view. The microbes as a biofertilizer, the question may be asked. And here in the image, the root nodules are being shown of the leguminous plants, in which the rhizobium bacterium lives and helps in the nitrogen fixation. Fungi are also known to form symbiotic association with the plants called as mycorrhiza. Many members of genus Glomus form mycorrhiza. The fungal symbiont in these associations absorb phosphorus from soil and passes it to the plant. Plants having such associations show other benefits also, such as resistance to root-borne pathogens, tolerance to salinity and drought, and an overall increase in plant growth and development. Cyanobacteria are autotrophic microbes widely distributed in aquatic and terrestrial environments, many of which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Example, Anabina, Nostoc, Oscillatoria, etc. So these cyanobacteria are nothing but they are autotrophic and they are widely distributed and they fix atmospheric nitrogen. In paddy fields, cyanobacteria serve as an important biofertilizer. Blue-green algae also add organic matter to the soil and increase its fertility. Currently in our country, a number of biofertilizers are available commercially in the market, and the farmers use these regularly in their fields to replenish soil nutrients and to reduce dependence on chemical fertilizers. So here we have, with this, that is microbes as biofertilizer, we have completed the chapter, that is the microbes in human welfare. In the next class, we will begin with the next chapter. So I have already told you in this chapter what all are important points to be remembered. Diagram, biogas plant diagram is important here. And I told you microbes as biocontrol agent may be asked, or microbes as biofertilizers they may ask. Okay, and then they may ask about the in this microbes in household products, microbes in industrial products. So, and many 1 mark questions are there in this particular chapter which may be asked in the exam. So that was important, which was all important I have explained to you all. Yes, so that completes the chapter microbes in human welfare. In the next class we will begin with the next chapter. Thank you.